of the Pit. Before we get started, you know the drill. Please hit that like and subscribe button down there. I really appreciate your support. All right, so let's head on over to the Great Down Under. I got a melodic deathcore band, beatdown specialists down there, and these guys have been amazing. We're gonna just hop right into it today. Their name is Mortala, and they're my next featured guest today, baby, on King of the Pit. Let's go, baby!
Hi King of the Pit audience, this is Ryan from the Melbourne deathcore band Mortala.
Hey, my name's Chris, I front the band Mortala from Melbourne, Australia.
My name is Joe Varco and I'm the drummer for Melbourne-based deathcore band Mortala.
My name is Kobe and I play bass for the band Mortala.
We're like a deathcore beatdown-esque type band. We throw a bit of melodics here and there. If you dig our stuff, you can hear it behind me in the track here. And yeah.
I would say Mortala is a band that basically started in the amongst of chaos.
The band has been together for over a year and a half now, with myself joining in August 2025 to complete the lineup.
So I joined the band roughly January of last year, so just shy of about a year and a half.
Mortala has been a band since the end of 2024, and the starting members were basically Chris, so the vocalist, and I, the guitarist, Ryan.
When did we get together? We got together officially, we started releasing stuff at the start of this year, 2026, but we actually got together about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where two of us, me and Ryan, the guitarist, got together from previous projects that we had going on. Those kind of fell through. So we got together and kind of made our own thing. And then, yeah, that took about a year or so to kind of polish out and get our sound. And the first EP that we released, The Thought of Death, The Fear of Life, and it was kind of accumulation of just finding out what we wanted to do. And I will say at the end of that, we kind of have more of a gist of where we're heading, especially into the future. And yeah, now, what do we represent, but what makes us different in our specific genre? There is a lot of bands that do deathcore. There is a lot of bands that do beatdown, a lot of bands that do melodic stuff. But I can definitely say, when you listen to our band, yes, you can find inspirations, but you won't be able to find, I don't think you can pinpoint exactly like what we full on sound like. We are unique in our own way, just like any other band is. And we definitely have our own unique sense of style and unique sense of sound and just uniqueness to offer.
So from what I can tell from what Chris and Ryan have said, in regards to the local scene, I think we're a more slam unga bunga, as we normally say, band in comparison to a lot of what else is going on in the scene.
So the metal and the deathcore scene has been around in Melbourne for a little bit now. I originally stepped into the deathcore scene in 2020 to 2019. Basically when I was a very young lass in the in the genre. And safe to say, I think the things we do a bit differently is we try to push down that modern hardcore deathcore route, whilst also having a bit of a slam-y kind of expression. So, some of the stuff we write is insanely heavy and stupidly heavy, but we also want to have a bit of melody. We also don't want to be a band that is stuck to one genre. We would rather have, multiple outlets and paths that can take us multiple routes. Like, we don't want to be the band that just writes the same fucking riff 50 fucking times. You get what I mean? We want to be a band that actually diverses and shows people that, hey, we can be a heavy band, but we can also be an incredibly melodic band if we wanted to.
The scene in our area, pros and cons of it. The scene in our area, deathcore and heavy music is a big thing in Australia. It's a big staple. And there's definitely always been a lot going on. You think about bands coming out of Australia like Parkway Drive. You think about the Amity Affliction, the lighter sound of things. We've definitely got our heavier stuff that people know and our softer stuff that people know. Music has always been a big thing in Australia. Now, I will say that deathcore has kind of dipped in the last couple of years. We do have some heavy bands out there. Shout out to bands like Body Prison and Bitter Kind. Two great Melbourne bands that absolutely sound amazing, doing their own thing respectively. But no one's kind of gotten that grip to bring the revival of deathcore or kind of that dirty, dark sound back to Australia, let alone in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think it's so great that all of us individually and as a band as a whole, I guess, have so many different influences that we can bring to the table to create something that's, just really unique. We want to sort of pave our own sound, just bring something new and exciting to the heavy scene. And I think that's exactly what we're doing and will continue to do.
Unfortunately, the scene has been a bit quiet lately, but the pros of that are that it's actually a smaller, more niche community, which is kind of cool when you're getting to meet people and you're very new. Unlike Chris and Ryan, everyone knows who they are apparently.
You find a lot of people these days doing DIY shows, which is cool, which is definitely cool. I do wish that those bigger labels out there start putting smaller bands back on bills or just doing mixed bills again. Bring back shows. Our very first show was a mixed bill where we played with kids that were coming up doing punk and grunge and everything, and then us out of nowhere, slammy deathcore band, and then after us a pop punk band. It's just sick having those mixed bills. It takes us back to when we were young, just doing random shows, or going to see random shows.
So the Melbourne scene currently, I would say back, 4 years ago thinking about it, there was always shows, there was always local shows, there was always something happening. You couldn't go anywhere to any venue without, a deathcore show or a hardcore show or a metalcore show happening. And it was awesome to see because there was so many young bands and talent that were, given a try and getting pushed and, basically getting shoved in people's faces. And there was always something different and unique that was happening in the scene. And, that was a really good thing with the Melbourne scene, as currently, cost of living pressures and everything like that, I feel like a lot of that passion has kind of disappeared a little bit. Especially with big promoters here. I've found that a lot of big promoters aren't, picking smaller bands anymore. They want basically the same bands to keep doing the same shows. And I feel like it's definitely showing a decline because, a lot of people don't want to see the same, band at 50 different shows in a row. They want to see something different. They want to see some smaller acts. They want to go and find new bands, but these big promoters and stuff like that aren't giving it a chance anymore.
Now, things coming up for us, even though we've just released our debut EP not too long ago, which you can check out on all of our socials if you dig our sound. Done some music videos here and there. Constantly writing. We've definitely found what style we want to go for, and so we're going to lean more towards a specific kind of sound and kind of break away from the different sounds that we had throughout the EP. And yeah, that's all I can say is keep watching. Big things coming soon.
In terms of our upcoming music, we've been working hard on a couple of new tracks. As I mentioned earlier, we're trying to, look at exploring different musical directions. We want to, stay true to our roots, which is just real heavy, brutal music, but we want to bring a fresh twist to that, and it's definitely what we've done with these tracks. So I'm real keen to get them out there and see what people think. Obviously, you can find our existing music and any upcoming tracks on all major streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. Got a couple of music videos up on YouTube as well, so definitely go check those out. But yeah, that's sort of where you'll find all of our stuff.
And more music, yeah. So hopefully we will have some singles coming out, whether it's this year or next year, we're not quite sure yet. And we're currently working on some shows in the background, trying to come up with some ideas. So hopefully that comes sooner rather than later.
Do have stuff in planning currently. Nothing I would say has been officially announced, but we are currently working very tirelessly on a couple of tracks, and whether they release this year or next year, we don't know, but we definitely are on, working on stuff in the background. So, we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
If there's one thing that you can take away from our music, is that it's always changing. There's always a different sound, always a different meaning. Each song and each thing is relatable to anybody in various reasons. And yeah.
In terms of what I would like for you guys to take away from our music is that, once again, we want to be creative, we want to be different, we want to be unique in the scene. We don't want to just be a carbon copy of bands that have come and gone. We want to inject sort of ourselves and into the music. And again, as I mentioned earlier, coming from a wide variety of influences, I think that really helps us to create a unique sound. We want people to connect with our music. We want our songs to have meaning that people can sort of relate to. We want to tell a story with our music. We want to paint a picture, but we also want it to be high energy, high intensity, especially live. You know, we want our music to be able to get people moving, just inject a lot of energy into the crowd, make people move. And I think lastly, you know, we just want people to be able to, sort of interpret the song how they might interpret it. You know, I think that's another important thing with music, is that everyone's going to interpret songs differently. And going back to sort of painting that picture in people's minds, I think, you know, everyone has a different way of interpreting lyrics and the instrumentals, which I hope that, our music can connect with people in many different ways.
Yeah, so I wasn't involved in the original writing for the EP, but for me as a musician, I've always hoped that whatever music I write or am a part of, just always gets through to people, helps make them feel, and hopefully, whenever they come to shows, they can enjoy themselves and have a great time. And I think that's all I can ask for as a musician more than anything else.
So the one thing I want the audience to take away from our music is, you know, give local bands a try. You know, I know sometimes you might find a random band here and there and you might stumble across them and be like, holy fuck, this is sick, or this is the best thing I've ever heard. Or you might stumble across them and be like, oh, this one song out of their whole discography is trash and I'm not going to give them a chance. Give bands a chance, you know, like there's a lot of big talents out there that aren't really giving the local scenes a chance. And, you know, if you go to more local shows, you support more local bands, it helps flesh out the scene, and it helps us as smaller bands also find, you know, other local talents to join and play alongside with, and, you know, help spread our name out and helps, you know, get our creative sides, you know, a bit of refreshment. So, you know, the King of the Pit audience, you know, just listen, stream, share around with your friends. Don't gatekeep, for the love of God. Just basically spread as much as you can, and basically make the next big things, I guess. Like, don't gatekeep, don't hide it, just release it to the world, show people, you know, what you like and what you want to listen to, and that's the best I can get out of that. So yeah.